Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Start Me the Right Way for September 18th. The weekend is upon us once again. It is exciting. All right, let's jump right into it. So yesterday I'm dropping my son off to school and we listened to the radio, and then a news report came on. And maybe you guys heard about this story. I think it was over in England. I forgot the exact place, but it was this couple who was married for over 50 years. And the wife passed away at 75 years old. And the husband let people know and posted some signs and stuff that he's lonely. And before you knew it, everyone was responding to him. But my son's question out of the whole story, he said, "Dad, she died early." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" So he goes, "Well, didn't God promise us 80 years?" And he was thinking back to in Psalm, what was it? Psalm 90, verse 10, where it says each of us lives for 70 years or even 80 if we're in good health. So he was thinking about that, and he's like, "Dad, she missed out on 5 years. How come? Why didn't God give her 5 more years?" And so I just started explaining to him, "Hey, buddy, listen, some of us have longer than 80 years. Some of us have shorter time than 80 years. And I know I've shared it here before, but, our daughter, Eve, my wife carried her. We found out while in womb that she wasn't going to make it really, but we wanted to give God every opportunity. And so she lived a day and a half. And so, we haven't hid this fact from my son. And so I said, Eve only had a day and a half, but, God decided to bring her home to heaven. So he's like, yeah. So, and I saw him pondering it. So I went home and looked up that verse, that verse which comes from Psalm 90, but also he's heard this verse around here as well, which comes from Genesis 6, verses 2 through 4. The Message puts it this way: when the human race began to increase with more and more daughters being born, the sons of God noticed that the daughters of men were beautiful. They looked them over and picked out wives for themselves. Then God said, "I'm not going to breathe life into men and women endlessly. Eventually, they're going to die. From now on, they can expect a lifespan of 120 years. This was back in the days and also later when there were giants in the land. The giants came from the union of the sons of God and the daughters of man. These were the mighty men of ancient lore, the famous ones." Okay, the New Living Translation puts it this way: the sons of God saw the beautiful woman and took any they wanted as their wives. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not put up with humans for such a long time, for they are only mortal flesh. In the future, their normal lifespan will be no more than 120 years. In those days, and for some time after, giant Nephilites, I believe, lived on the earth. For whenever the sons of God had intercourse with women, they gave birth to children who became the heroes and famous warriors of ancient times." There is so much packed into those three little verses, and I'm only going to focus on the age aspect of it. And backtracking, the other thing that my son said, he's like, well, he likes to collect facts and stuff. And he's like, well, nobody wants to live as old as Methuselah did. Who wants to live 969 years? He picks up these little facts and he just holds on to them. Got an incredible memory. So it got me thinking, yeah, who does want to live 900 years, right? It certainly would give us enough time to get things right. You would hope, right? You would hope you would learn from your mistakes after about 900 years. But reading these verses possibly can give us some insight, okay? This was right after, not time-wise, but chapter-wise. I mean, obviously it was after, we just don't know how long after. It was said that Adam and Eve had sinned right around when Adam was about 800 years old. And from that point forward is when they got kicked out of the garden. God had always intended a perfect relation with us, that there would be nothing to mar it. But Adam did. And that continued in his line. Right, the sons of God saw a beautiful woman and they just took whoever they wanted. You know, there was no courting or no treating women nicely or anything that should normally go with that. So who knows? You know, who knows God's reasoning for it? But it could be that God just didn't want us, you know, continually being here for a longer time. And in other versions, it actually refers to that. Okay, you could see in verse 3 where it immediately says, "And the Lord said, my spirit will not put up with humans for such a long time." So you can clearly see that God was annoyed at that moment, right? So I don't know. Think about it, right? Would you, if you had longer, if you knew that you were going to live 200, 300, 400 years, what would you be doing with today? Would you be saying, I got plenty of time? Or would you be digging in? Would you be digging in as if today was possibly your last day? I don't know. Think about it. All right. A lot in here as always. God bless and have an awesome weekend. Bye.